We don't have to mourn what could have been, but rather to honor it, learn from it, keep shaping who we're still becoming. Not actualizing our potential is not failure. It's simply part of being human. We will never actualize all our potential. We have far more within us than we can realize. Just as the universe, the world holds far more than it can actualize. It's like driving a Ferrari.
Hi, Walter.
Years to understand.
Yeah, hello.
Hello? Hello? Hi, Walter.
Hey, Ernie, how are you?
I have tonight.
Our fans are in
Hi, Mario.
rebellion.
Hello.
Ernie,
Yes.
Nebuch Marty Katz passed away. Remember Marty?
Yes, I
Oh, my God.
I saw that.
Is that okay?
Tomorrow night, the Levaya at 9:45.
Who I didn't know, and they've never spoken to me basically.
Should we do the daf at 7:30?
And for you to meet each other,
I think it's a short blot. We'll be done in a half hour.
plenty of diversity.
Okay.
We could
You
even
gotta-
do it at 8. We'll be done by 8:30.
Huh?
We could even do it at 8 because we'll probably be done. Why don't we
I
do
know,
it?
but
Why don't we do it?
Levaya
At 7?
Levaya is at Branda Shul. It's too tight.
Is what?
It's at Branda.
Yeah, at Link. Yeah, it's not far. It's 15 minutes there.
I don't want to cut.
What we could do? Let's learn at 7:45. That'll give us enough time because
Very tight. Okay.
the blot will only be
What
out.
time is Shabbos out?
It's 7 o'clock.
No, I think it's earlier than that.
No, it starts at 5:43, so it'll be over at 6:40.
Okay, good. So
50.
I think we could let's learn at 7:45. That
You
gives
can
us
learn at 7:30 as far as I'm concerned.
Let's learn at 7:30.
fine. 7:30, no problem. What Mario, send a text to everybody.
Yeah.
Mario, just to let you know, Mario, I'm giving Kiddush tomorrow at Yavne. You're
Yeah, but
invited.
I'm in the valley, Walter. Thank you.
Are you in the valley? You can walk from the valley. It's not far.
Yeah.
Okay, we're at Bebchat 48. Parvis Sorshal and Yom Kippurim. We said that you have to shecht it in the north. Parvis Sorshal and Yom Kippurim, Michte. Tzafon Boilaksiv. The requirement to shecht the korban in the north is written by an Ola. So the Gemara wants to know Nisni Ola Bereisha. Why didn't the Mishnah begin telling us the story about shechting korbanos in the north with an Ola? Because that's where it's mentioned. The Gemara says, Chatas, it's not written befeirush by Korban Chatas, it's learned by a drasha from a hekesh to Ola, from Ola. And the Tanoim enjoy things that are learned b'drasha more than they're written in psukim. So they listed Chatas as first. So the Gemara wants to know v'nisni chatos achitzonos. The comparison of an Ola to a Chatas with the drasha is an external chatas that was done in the external mizbech, not the internal mizbech. Why does the Mishnah start with the par Yom Kippurim? So, Adi de nichnas dama lifnai v'lifnim chavivale. Since the blood of the par and sor Yom Kippur go into the Kodesh Kadoshim, so it's more chaviv for them. So, Fona ba'ola hechiksiva. Where is it written by Korban Ola B'tzafon? It says in the first parak of Vayikra v'shachato so al yercha mizbech tzafona. Fine. Ashkechan ben son, that's a sheep. What about a cow ben bakar bin ole? Armor kra. V'im minat son. The vav moisif al inyan rishon. That the earlier parsha, which deals with a par, the vit, so Yilamed Elyon mitachton. The earlier parsha is learned from the later parsha Tzon, where it mentions tzafon. Hanich lemandom melamdim. That's good according to the mandoma that says you can learn from tachton to Elyon. Elamandoma ain't melamdim Michael Meimer. But those that say you can't learn tachton to Elyon, where is their hekesh? Or how do you know par? If it's written only by Tzon, Titania. It says if you're over the Aver of Me'ilah, you benefit from Hegdish B'Shogeg. Beginning of the Parsha, it talks about Osham Tolui, a suspending Osham. So if you ate Chalev, but let's say there were two pieces of Chalev, two pieces of fat, and you ate one of them, and one of them might be Chalev. So you don't bring a Mamish Achatis because you don't know for sure that you ate Chalev B'Shogeg. So you bring an Osham Toli. So it says, Ve'im Nefesh, L'chayev al Sofik Me'ilos Osham Toli. Dev Rabbi Kiva. That if you are in doubt whether you were Moil Behegdish, you also bring an Osham Toli. The Chachamim poetry. And the Chachamim say no. You only bring an Osham Tolu if the Sofik, if the Avera is a Chatas, if the Avera is Kores, not by Sofik Me'ilos. Now, what's the machlokes between Rabbi Kiva and the Chachamim? My love, Akamifki. Mar Sover, Rabbi Kiva holds the Meidin. The parshas of Osham Me'ilos, which is an earlier parsha, is learned from the Tachton parsha of Osham Tolu. But the Chachamim, Umar Sovereign Lamedim. So that's where we see this thing that there are people that don't learn Tachton to Elyon. So Amrav Papa really Kol Alma Lamedim. Really, there is no machlokas. Everybody holds that you can learn Tachton to Elyon. And therefore, the teaching from Tzon to Par is an acceptable teaching. However, what's the reason that the Chachamim argued with Rabbi Kiva regarding the bringing an Osham Toli for Sofik Me'ilos? Ha'idatami Rabbanon, they say that a Sofik Me'ilah you don't bring an Osham Toli because there's a Gzeir Shavat. Nemar Khan, it says by Osham Toli mitzvahs. Ve'asta achas mikol mitzvos Hashem asher lo saseh. V'nemar b'chatas chaylev. And it says by bringing a korban chatas for eating chaylev. Mitzvahs. Because it says ba'asoyso achas mitzvos Hashem asher lo sasena. Malahalim by chatas. Why do you bring a chatas? Dover shechayav nals don't occur for shigach chatas. It's if you did the avera b'mezid, you'd get koreit. So if you do it b'shogig, like you get a chatas like eating dam or chaylev. Avkan, so too by Nosham Tolui, it's only on something that chayav nals don't occur for shigach chatas. And Me'ilah is not one of those. Rabbi Kiva, what does he do with that Gzeir Shava? He's learning Tachton LaElyon to say that you're chayiv and Osham Toli for Sofik Me'ilah. So he says, Malahalon Bikavua when it says mi mitzvos Hashem by chatas, that's talking about a standard chatas. It's not a sliding scale chatas. Avkan, the suffix kavu. It has to be a suffix in something that is kavu. Lafuki chatas tumas migdash ukdosha, which is an oil of yored. It excludes the sliding scale kind of chatas. So he uses that limud to reject bringing an asham toli for any kind of suffix regarding tumas migdash ukdosha. V'rabbanan ein gzeir shav lemechza. If an asham toli is going to compare to chatas, you got to move all the relevant dinim over, and you can't pick and choose what you want to bring over. Rabbi Kiva nami ein gzeir shav lemechza. Ein achanami. Rabbi Kiva savar v'im nefesh ksiv by asham toli. Vav moisif al inyan rishon. The vav tells me that you have to learn the elyon mitachto. So even the earlier parsha about Safik Me'ila, you also bring an Asham Toleh. I Rabbanan Nami Haksi V'im Nefesh with the Vav. Maybe Lema B'Hakam if the Mar Savar, maybe Rabbi Kiva holds Hekesh is Adiv. Learning something Behekesh maybe is stronger than learning something B'Gzer Shava. And that's why we bring an Asham Toleh for Safik Me'ila. And the Chachamim say no. Umar Sav Gzeir Shava Adiv. And therefore the Gzeir Shava teaches me that the Asham Toli only comes for things that you bring a chatas for. More says lo. Really the kul al hekesh adiv. Even the Chachamim hold that a hekesh is stronger than Gzeir Shava. So then if and there's a hekesh to connect Asham Toli to Asham Me'ilos, how come the Chachamim don't say that you have to bring an Asham Toli for Savik Me'ilah? Armin Charabonon, yeah, Tachton the Gomer Me'elyon. You can teach from above to down, and the Asham Tolui is learned from the Elyon. What? The Asham Kesef Shkolim, that you have to bring an Asham that's worth at least 2 shekel. Shaloi Tomer lo yehi sveikel chomer mivado. To say that an Asham Tolui should not be more stringent than bringing a normal chatas for a vadai chatas. Ma vado chatas bas danka is a sixth of the dinar of sveiko. If it's a suffix chatas, asham bar danka, it shouldn't be any more than that. But you don't learn elyon from tachton. Elyon can come to teach the tachton, but not vice versa. Rabbi Kiva hasvar minole. Well, where does Rabbi Kiva, learn? Because he's learning the smichas, he's learning elyon from tachton. Where does he learn that the asham has to be at least 2 shekel? Nafkalei, zos Torah sa asham. Torah achas l'chol hashamas. They all have to come with the same value. Tinich mandi islay Torahs. Fine. The one who accepts this limit of zos Torah sa ashas. What about the leslay Torahs mehecha gomar? The mandarim that don't learn Zois Torah Asham, from where do they learn that the Asham has to be brought for a minimum shekel value? Gomar Gzeir Shava be'erkecha kesef shkoli. And it says be'erkecha by the Asham. Fine. Tinech echad be'erkecha, which is Asham Toli and Asham Gzelos, but Asham Shivcha Charufa, Loksiv ba be'erkecha. The Asham Shivcha Charufa, it's not written Erkecha. How do you know that Asham has to be brought for a minimum value? Michael Meimar. Gomar Gzeir Shava from El HaAsham, which is written by Asham Me'ilos, and Be'el HaAsham, which is written by Shivcha Charufa. Chatas Minolon de Boit Safo. Where is the source that Korban Chatas has to be shechted in the north? T'chsiv v'shachat es hachatas bimkom ha'olah. You have to shecht the chatas in the same place as the olah, just like the olah is in the north. We brought that from a pasuk. So too the chatas. Fine. Ashkechan shchita kabbalah minolah. Hiding the kabbalah has to be done in the north. T'chsiv v'lokacha koi midam hachatas. Well, you gotta receive the blood right where you shecht it, because you get it from the neck of the behemoth. So if the behema is in the north, so the Kabbalah is in the north. Fine. What about Mekabel Atzmina? Where does the coin have to stand? Does he have to be in the north? Amar Krav Velokach Lo Yikach. He has to take himself. Ashkechan lemitzvah. 1 second. Hello? Oh. Ashkechan lemitzvah. That's the mitzvah lechatchila to do it. How do I know that if I don't do it, la'akev minayim? Kra'achrinaksi. It says by when the nasi has to bring a so'ir, which is also a chatas. V'shachat oso bimkom asher yishchat es ha'olah. So the repetition means it's la'akev. V'tanya hechanoi l'nishchata b'tzofel. Avzeh b'tzofel. Asks the Gemara, "V'chimikana talami?" Do you learn it from that limit? V'lo kvan nemar. Zos Torah sachatas. Bimkom asher tishchat ha'olah tishachet ha'chatas. There's another passage that says wherever you shech the olah, you shech the chatas. Elaha l'ma yatsa. What? Why was it repeated by the Sor Nasi? Likvo l'mokom shim lo shach l'b'tzofon pasul. That it's even b'di'evet. It's ma'akev. If you don't do it in the north, it's ruined. So ata l'kach yatsa or ena ela. Hello? Good job. I'm teaching Daf Yomi now. Can I call you back? No, I'll call you back. I'll call you back. I'll be done in a few minutes. Okay, bye-bye. Bye. So maybe Ella, that when it says Rishachat Oso, that only Zet Ta'un Safo, only the So'ir Chatas that a Nasi brings requires north. Vein Achir Ta'un Safo, maybe no other Chatas requires north. Talmud Loimar, when it talks about the So'ir that is brought by a Yochid for a regular Chatas Chelev or a Chatas Dam, V'shachatas achatas b'mkom ha'olah. Zeh bona av. It's a binyan av l'kol chatos yutun in sofa. To all the chatases that it requires north. And the repetition by the Sor Nosir is to say it's la'akev. Ashkechon so'ir nosi bein lemitzvah bein la'akev. Fine. You prove to me that the Sor that the Nosi brings has to be done in the north, whether lechatchila or even la'akev. Fine. You also brought me a source by the other chatos through a binyanav that the other chatos have to be shechted in the north, but that's lechatchila. La'akev minolan d'chsiv bekizba uksiv beso'ir. It's written by both places, both by the sheep and by the goat. Since it's written by both places, it tells us that it's la'akev because it didn't need to be written in both places. Okay. So we said, it says, V'shachat oso, by the so'ir nasi. Ela oso lamali. What are we excluding? Meboy lelecha detanya. Also b'tzofim, the ein sor nachshon b'tzofim. Oh. When Nachshon and all the Nisim, by the Chanukah Samishkan, they brought a so'ir lechatas too, that doesn't have to be shechted in the north. It was brought as a matona, not lechapir. And therefore its din was not like the shar chatos. And it also did not need smicha. So why did I need v'oso to exclude this? Because Tanya, it says by so'ir nosi, v'samach yado al rosh ha'sa'ir. Why didn't it just say al rosho? We know we're talking about a so'ir. The Rabbi Sar Nachshon l'smicha Rabbi Yehuda. Did Rabbi Yehuda? That Rabbi Yehuda holds to include the so'ir that was brought by Nachshon also l'smicha. Shimon Omer, no. The Sar Nachshon did not require smicha, but it comes la Rabbi Seir Avodah Zarah l'smicha. that the Sawyer brought from Avodah Zarah has to have smicha. Because Salkadaitik, I might have thought Hoil vi Israbu. L'smicha. Since Rabbi Yehuda brought a riboy to say that the Zeirim that the Nesiim brought needed smicha. Maybe Israbu Nami L'tzofon. Maybe they were included in the din of having to shech them in the north. Kamashma that we don't. Maskef Ravina, Hanich, Rav Yehuda, and Rav Shimon. They did not include Sorry Nachshon L'smicha. I mean, Rav Yehuda did. But Rav Shimon, who did not have anything to do with smicha, Michael Amemar, Armalei Marzuta, Rav Tevin, Ravina, Rav Yehuda, who included smicha b'Sorry Nachshon. Minicha? How you decided to include in smicha, but say you don't have to shecht it in the north? Why? L'maydi Israbi Israbi. If you included it for smicha, fine. L'maydi lo Israbi lo Israbi. If you didn't include l'shchita l'tzofon, fine. You just include what you had the Masorah to include. V'chi tema ilo ma'ate kra. If the Torah was silent about shechting Sorah Nachshon b'tzofon, havimina teisi b'binyanav. So since the Torah was silent, I would have learned it from the binyanav that we have by all chatases that it would also require tzofon. Well, if that's so, im kain, if it's a regular chatos, smicha gufei teisi b'binyanav. We wouldn't have needed a special riboy of smicha because we would have learned it from a binyanav from the other chatos. Ella midoiros lo gamrina. The halachas given to us about the korban chatas is for future generations as well. And this Sa'ir Nachshon was only for the generation of the Midbar. So we don't learn with a binyanav from mitzvahs l'doros to mitzvahs l'shah. So we needed a special riboy to say you needed smicha. Al-Chanami, same thing for shkitas tzofon. Mi doiros lo gamin, you wouldn't have been able to learn from doiros. And therefore, you don't have to exclude Sorry Nachshon, because we wouldn't have learned it, because it's midoiros l'shah. So what is v'shachat oso? Because we were saying v'shachat oso b'tzofon, and the Sorry Nachshon is coming to exclude the Seirei Nachshon, but we don't need that if midoiros lo gamrina. So the Gemara comes to tell us also b'tzofon ve'ein shoichet b'tzofon. The korban has to be standing in the north, but the guy who shechts it doesn't have to be in the north. So the Gemara says that din, that the shoichet doesn't have to be in the north, that we learn from somewhere else. Shoichet ravach yanaf, the Tanya. Ravach yomer v'shachat oiso al yerach hamizbeach tzafon. That's by korban oil. Ma tamad loymar. Ufish matzino omer b'tzafon mekabel b'tzafon. That might be a regular case that the coin stands in the north and is makabel in the north. But maybe if he's standing in the south, even though he was makabel in the tzafon, it's possible. Yachol abzeh came. So maybe it's the same thing. The shoichet tamad lomer oso al yerach hamizbeach oso b'tzafon ve'na shochet b'tzafon. The korban has to be in the north, but not the coin. Ella, what do we learn from Oso by Sar Nashi? Oso b'tzafon ve'ein ben ov b'tzafon. An animal has to be shechted in the north, but not a bird. The Tanya. It says by an ola that you bring from a sheep. V'shachat oso al yerech hamizbeach tzafona. Yachol yehi ben ov tonsof, maybe even a bird. V'dinu ma ben son shlo kovel kohen. A kohen doesn't have to shecht a sheep, anybody can shecht it. It's kosher bizarre. Yet kavalot safan, it has to be done in the north. Ben Ov. Doing malik on a bird was only kosher by a kohen. Kavalot kohen, maybe eno din she kavalot safan. So certainly it should require the north. Talmud Lomer also to exclude the Ben Ov from the north. So we don't need it. We don't have a kavach chomer to learn from Oisa. Mala benson, shekain kavalo kli. A benson requires a kli when you shecht it. Like a knife. A bird can be shechted with your fingernail. Ella also bitzof of ein pesach bitzof. The also says the soir nasi has to be shechted in the north, but not the korban pesach. The Tanya. Rav Yezer ben Yaakov and Yachol Yei Pesach Ton Sof. I might think that the korban pesach needs to be shechted in the north. V'dinu tzakav chomer. Uma oilashken lo kavalos mal shchitoso. Shechting and all it does not require a specific time. You can shecht it whenever you want. Kavalot sofa. Yet an all has to be done in the north. Pesach shekavalos mal shchitoso. Pesach has to be shechted afternoon of Yud Daled Nisan. Eino din sheyikvalot sofa, and certainly it should require the north. Talmud Lomer also that it doesn't require the north. But there's no kavachomer. Malo oilish shekain kolil. But an ola is more stringent than a pesach because it's completely burnt. Korban pesach is eaten. Still, there's a kavachomer mechatas, which doesn't have a particular time, and it's also not burnt completely, and yet its shchita is bitzofa. But we can reject that kavachomer. Malachatas shekain mechapes l'chavi krisus. A chatas is more stringent than a pesach. It's not more kal because it's mechaper for kores. Maybe me'asha, mal'asha b'shkein koche kochim, and Pesach is not koche kochim, it's koche kalim. Maybe mikulam nami, maybe from all of this. Ashram, oil chatas, shkein koche kochim. We could reject the limud from all of them because they're all koche kochim. We're back to the question, what do we learn from the word v'shachat oso that's written by Soren Nasi? So l'oilam kidamar mikara, oso b'tzafam vein shocha b'tzafam. The korban has to be in the north, but not the shoichet. Udekashalach, but you had a problem. Merab Achia Nafka, that we learned it from Rav Achia. So the oso that's written by the source is lavlama ute shoichet b'tzofa. It's not coming to particularly exclude the shoichet, the way Rav Achia was darish. Ella ein shoichet b'tzofon aval mekabel b'tzofon. The shoichet doesn't have to be there, but he has to be makabel there. He has to stick his hands in there. So makabel milokach, the lokach nafka. We already learned it from a pasuk. So lokach v'lokach lo mashmei. It's for those people who don't learn that drasha. Fine. Ashkechan shchita ba'oila lemitzvah. You showed me that an oil has to be shechted in the north l'chatchila. Kabbalah nami lemitzvah ashkechan. Kabbalah also is l'chatchila. Shchita v'kabbalah la'akem minon, but if you don't shecht or makabel in the north and then it's completely rejected, how do we know that? We learned that the whole din that a chatas is shecht in the north is from Ola. Because it says v'shachatas achatas b'mkoma Ola. And yet it's me'akeves, and we learned that there, if you don't do it in the north, it's bad. Ola shabo chata mikocha. Ola, where the chatas is learned from it, ain't din shema keves. It certainly should be ma'akeh. Ma'ala chatas shkem mechapers l'chavi krisus. But there's no kal v'chomer because the chatas is more chomer because it comes to atone for kores. Amar Ravina hakashalei the Ravada Barav. This was a problem for Ravada Barava. Plum matzinu tofel chomer min ha'ikr. I mean, how could the tafel be more stringent than the ikr? The ikr was the oila. The chatas is learned from it. How could that which is learned from, B is learned from A, and yet B is more chomer than A? So this will have to wait for an answer till tomorrow night.
Oh, yeah?
Shkoyach. Good Shabbos, everybody. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbos, everybody. Good.
Shabbos.
Good Shabbos.